Bridget Phillipson's social media team have been doing an amazing job again of how not to read the room. Today's tweet about free breakfast and all that crap, they've put an emoji of a breastfeeding mother next to 30 hours of funded childcare. So why the breastfeeding mother, Bridget? You want all the kids in childcare from 9 months, so what's the point of mum? I mean, wasn't it the NHS guidelines not so long ago that you had to breastfeed until they were 1, which put untold pressure on parents that couldn't breastfeed? I was one of those, by the way. But now we're saying, well, don't bother anyway, because we want them in nurseries from 9 months. So why the breastfeeding emoji? Because that would say to me that we actually respect mothers. That would say that we actually respect the role of a mother, or indeed a father, whoever is the primary carer at home, and we would respect the educational and emotional journey that parent takes their child on in their early years. That would say that we respect parents wanting to do the best for their children. If you had a breastfeeding emoji, that would say that you respect the role of a mother. Yet here we are, forcing our children into nursery care from 9 months old. And then when we go to this funded nursery care, what we actually mean is if you want to go to the state provision, it's funded because the government gives the state the funding for the nursery care, not free breakfasts. If you go into the private sector, then they don't. They give them a tiny little bit and say, you've got to make the rest up yourself, but you can't ask the parents. Well, funnily enough, what's happening to those nurseries? They're going, boo! So you don't even get to choose what nursery your child goes into from 9 months, which is when they want them there. And they want them there so that parents can regain 95 hours a year of work, because mums want to work more, apparently. Only if you look at some of the research, it says that they really don't. They want to spend time with their children, but they can't afford to live or indeed have their children unless they work more. So we know how the circle goes, don't we? We get on it, we don't get off it. And so now the final nail for the coffin for mums is the breastfeeding emoji. Look at what you could be doing, but you can't actually, because if you actually breastfeed your child, that means that you're at home with them. And if you're at home with them, you're not earning any money to go into the economy. So we'll have that from you. Thanks very much. You need to go and do your extra 95 hours. You need to go into nursery and learn all of your morals and values from some absolute random. And yay, Rachel Reeves is happy because she's got more money in her tax pot that she can spaff on whatever it is that she wants. But I can tell you right now who it won't be. It won't be the British public. And yay, that worked really well for Labour, didn't it? I think people are beginning to wake up to this. And when you attack, I've said this before, when you attack the mother wolf or the father wolf, they come for you. If I had my young children again and I read that kind of tweet, well, I'd probably actually say, can we move abroad? Which is what a lot of parents are doing. Only this morning in the supermarket, I spoke to a friend who said, we're thinking of upping sticks. There's no point being here. So she's taking the children, the husband, all of their income, everything out of this country, and they're going abroad because this one is so bad. And I said, could I come too? That's what's happening. The decisions Labour are making are forcing people to leave. For some people, they're forcing them over the edge. And now we're attacking the family. I used to be of the opinion that we respected family in this country. I used to be of the opinion that family was central to our ethics, to our ethos. I used to think that we learnt from our family and we revered family. Apparently not. So all of those breakfast time scenarios. Do you remember the tiger that came to tea and Daddy came home and he put his hat on the peg and his coat on the peg and they all went out for tea as a family? I reckon Daddy and the tiger who came for tea was home by 5 o'clock. I mean, imagine that. He wasn't going, have you booked in the after school club? Have you booked in the childcare because my meeting doesn't finish till 9? No. We've got it all wrong. We've got it really, really wrong. We do not want to be making it easier for children to be going into school. We want to be making it easier for parents to live so that they can afford the time with their children, so that they can afford to have breakfast with them, so that they can afford being a family. That's what we need to do. Pushing kids into school at 9 months old, feeding them by the state, taking away parental choice, we do not want that. And any parent that thinks that's not the way we're going, I strongly advise you to start looking at the bilge that's coming out of number 10 and Bridget Phillipson's tweet. And you will see that that's exactly where we are going. This is not about helping you. This is not about making it easier for you to go back to work. Question what you are going back to. Question how you are splitting yourself into 14 million pieces. Because if you don't work, you can't afford to live. You can't afford the rent. You can't afford the mortgage. You can't afford the food. Even if you do work, you still can't afford it. But you've at least got a little bit of income coming in to pay the debts off. They want your every ounce of everything. I'm sorry, this is not a conspiracy theory. This is not me going absolutely barking mad. This is stating the bloody obvious. And when you put a breastfeeding mother emoji next to "we're giving you 30 hours of funded childcare," that, I think, says it all. Bridge, you've not read the room. You've massively underread it. And families are going to start answering back, because that's not what we signed up for.